The atonement is the total opposite of abandonment. Grace and peace, everybody. Welcome to Sabbath School Study Group, part number 4, the God who will come back for us. Yes, Jesus is coming again, but more accurately, Jesus is coming back. He was already sent from God, but now he's choosing to come back, not to come back to here. He's got to come back to get us. That's powerful. That's atonement. And so any idea that God abandons those who choose to abandon him, not happening. Again, why? Because it's his character. Love does not abandon. Love atones. Love has affection. Love pursues in spite of the character of the subject or the object that it is pursuing. When we read in John 14, when Jesus is speaking these words of promise, John 14, 15, 16, he's trying to get these last words of encouragement to his disciples, which means these last words of encouragement to us. He says that in my Father's house are many mansions. If it were not so, I would have told you. I go, Jesus says, I go for our sake. He says, I go to prepare a place for you. And if I go and prepare a place for you, I will come again and receive you unto myself, that where I am, there ye may be also. Jesus' coming was for our sake. But here he's saying, even my leaving, it's not even for myself. I'm leaving for you to oversee this grand project of making many mansions for all of us in one house. He said, in my Father's house, one house, there are many mansions. And I think this is a literal interpretation of what God does in his heart. God has one heart. And in that heart of love, there are many mansions. All of us have a room. All of us have a place, and all of us have a space. We make the choice whether or not to occupy it, but it never changes the fact that God has a place in his heart for us. Jesus says now, I'm literally now going to go and prepare mansions for you. And if it wasn't the truth, I would never say it, because remember what John 1 said, he's the word. He cannot lie. Whatever he says comes to pass, because whatever he says is created. Now when we go to John chapter 17 and verse number 25, we see Jesus in conversation with the Father who has a house of many mansions. He says, O righteous Father, the world hath not known thee, but I have known thee. And these have known that thou hast sent me. Remember, the point of this study is to recognize that atonement is the total opposite of abandonment. Already, John 14, we see that Jesus left for our sake. And it's here in John chapter 17 that he says, look, they don't know you, but I want to go on the record for that. They will understand that you know them. And the evidence of that is that I am here. I know you. I have articulated to them everything that you have told me to express and to communicate to them, not just in terms of his preaching, but more importantly, in terms of his ministry, how he's helped and how he's served. And these have known now that you have sent me because of the things that I have both said and done. So even when Jesus is leaving, when he has departed, the interesting thing that happens, that remember when Jesus came the first time, that angels were sent. Angels were sent to give an affirmation that this is not just a baby. This is the Son of God, who is now chosen to become the Son of Man. He sent angels. Hark, the herald angels sing. When Jesus left, he sends messengers. And it would be interesting. I don't have any Bible truth or proof of this, but it'd be interesting that these were some of the same angels who came to hark, 33 years ago when he was born. We don't know that, but we do know that they were angels, because it says in Acts 1, when Jesus ascended to go about the business to leave for our sake, while they, the disciples, looked steadfastly toward heaven, as he went up, behold, 2 men stood by them in white apparel. And these said, Ye men of Galilee, why stand ye gazing up into heaven? This same Jesus, which is taken up from you into heaven, shall so come in like manner as you've seen him go into heaven. He sent angels to give us even more assurance that, look, the atonement is not about abandonment. It's about atonement. It's at one minute. Jesus came to restore God's mission, to complete God's mission of getting us back to him. If you still doubt, if you're still not sure, look at the logistics of this story. If Jesus was going to come like he did before, he could show up in an instant. He did it when he showed up with those two brothers that were walking on the road, and he told them about explaining what happened in his crucifixion. He did it when he showed it to the disciples, and he did it again when he popped in and he showed it to Thomas. But notice how he leaves. He doesn't vanish. He ascends. He doesn't want this to be a traumatic withdrawal. He ascends. He fades out as if to say, I want to go, but I don't want to go. And I don't want you all to think that I'm just dropping you. So even as he's fading away to do what we need him to do, be our high priest, he sends messengers immediately to minimize the trauma, to say he's coming back. Keep your eyes to the sky because he's coming back. Keep your eyes on him by faith because he's there for us. And by that virtue, we are there in him. Brothers and sisters, believe that atonement is the total opposite of abandonment. God's mission to us is in his gift of Jesus to us.